Hello everyone. I wanted to talk a little bit about a portion of your paper that you're doing that talks about evaluating credible sources. And I have a document for you that I'd like you to make sure that you use when you defend your sources, right? When you defend your sources, I want you to make sure that you use the vocabulary, the points that are made inside this evaluating credible sources document. So here's what I want to talk about right now. It's important for us to understand in this day and age of so much information, right? Information coming at us from TV and movies and our cell phones and other people. It is crucial that you are able to critically evaluate what is a valuable, credible source and what is not. Just because someone says it doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. So there's a couple different areas I want you to make sure you emphasize when you justify the credibility of your sources for this paper. The first one is bias. I want you to pay attention to any bias that is provided inside the journal article, inside the Center for Disease Control article that's being done, inside the American Psychological Association article that's being done. So these high-level credible resources, do they have bias? If there's bias, you have to really, really watch that. Competence. Is the person who's writing it an expert in the subject matter? Are they experts? So Sally, who's writing on Facebook about CBD and how great it is for her baby, does she really have any expertise in this? No. But a pediatrician from the American Medical Association or American Association of Pediatrics, now we're talking about somebody that's competent to say that. So your first filter is bias. Your second filter is competence. Your third filter is credibility. Is the content logical and believable? Does it have any obvious falsehoods? Okay. This is where Wikipedia is such a bad thing. Now, Wikipedia can never be used as an academic source because it can be edited. Not because the content isn't necessarily good. There may be the greatest content ever on Wikipedia, but because it can be edited, it's not credible, right? Because today you may cite something from Wikipedia, and then next week somebody else comes in and changes the very thing that you used to cite. It's not credible. The fourth area is completeness. Is the work complete? Does it show both sides? Is it misleading? Is it missing something? Is it only giving one particular point of view? Essentially, does it admit its own faults? Recency, the last 10 years. Whatever you use, it needs to be within the last 10 years. Psychology replaces 50% of our information every 7 years. Okay? I learned that at a workshop that I went to. Psychology replaces 50% of our information every 7 years. So if you go back further than 10 years, most likely that's been adjusted, thought about differently. There's a better article that's more recent that substantiates it and so on. Then relevance. Make sure what you are using as your credible source is relevant to what you are studying. Okay, let me give you an example of how this can go a little bit awry. Let's say you were studying major depressive disorder, okay? And major depressive disorder, one of the characteristics is apathy, okay? Lack of emotion, right? And so you say, well, apathy is a lack of emotion. And then you go down the path of discussing apathy and then emotions like anger and sadness and guilt and then joy, and all of a sudden you're over here studying emotions. What were you originally supposed to be studying? Major depressive disorder, see? So you have to make sure that you don't go so far away from your subject. Again, because psychology is so broad, be careful that you hone down with that relevance. So let's review. For your source to be credible, you have to be able to explain bias, competence, credibility, completeness, recency, and relevance, okay?